Okay, we're ready. Good morning. The Lincoln Police Department is wrapping up its investigation into the shooting of Tareik Artis. Our reports are being turned over to the Lancaster County Attorney's Office for their review. Currently, Mr. Artis was transferred yesterday from the hospital to the Lancaster County Jail. He was subsequently arrested at that particular point in time for attempted assault on a police officer, possession of a stolen firearm, and the use of a firearm to commit a felony. During the investigation, almost 50 citizens were interviewed by investigators of the Lincoln Police Department concerning this incident. Some witnesses had actually observed and witnessed parts of what had transpired that particular morning, while others may have heard commands from officers or actually heard gunshots. The investigation showed that we believe the Lancaster County deputy fired twice and the deputy U.S. Marshal fired twice. Mr. Artis was subsequently struck 3 times, once in the right thigh and 2 times in the right buttocks, fracturing his right hip. His injuries were damage to his liver, a collapsed right lung, a collapsed diaphragm, and a fractured right hip. I'll take you through a little bit of a PowerPoint of a map and kind of try to provide you with some information in regards to the course that Mr. Artis ran as he was fleeing from officers in the area of K Street 11th to 12th, and then try to give you a little bit of a snapshot in regards to what some of the citizens who were observing this, what they had actually said, if you want to wind up taking a look at that. So, let me get that light switch on. Okay, this is kind of the area map in regards to up in the upper left-hand corner there. The car symbol represents the officer doing the traffic stop. A traffic stop was conducted by a Lincoln police officer as Mr. Artis is being asked to step out of the vehicle. He pushes the officer and flees. The officer sees what he believes is a gun in his waistband in his back, as well as the driver of the vehicle acknowledges that he believes that Mr. Artis has a gun in his waistband as well. The driver had indicated that he had no knowledge that Mr. Artis had a gun in his possession when he had picked him up or while he was in his vehicle. There were 3 witnesses in the area of 11th Street, or on K Street 11th to 12th. One sees the butt of a gun and hears it drop in the parking garage that Mr. Artis flees through as he's running south and a little bit west from the traffic stop. Another citizen sees a person run and he hears a metal object drop or clank in the parking garage as Mr. Artis is running, and he also sees this individual stop and pick it up. Another person saw this person run and hears a clank, as well as seeing this particular person pick something up as he runs through the parking garage. Mr. Artis then exits the parking garage on the west side, then turning south on 11th Street and runs down to Lincoln Mall. Once he gets down to Lincoln Mall, he then turns and heads east. He runs by a lady who saw a person running down the sidewalk with a gun in his right hand. this lady then kind of follows this person from a distance, observes him to run south on 12th Street as let me escape. Okay, we're gonna stop. Yes.
Thank you, though. Excuse me.
Okay, this lady follows him from a distance, observing him, sees him go south from Lincoln Mall on 12th Street, and then observes him to run eastbound in the alley, 12th to 13th south of Lincoln Mall. She calls 911 and advises 911 that, and provides a description, that the person is running with a gun in his right hand, and he is currently behind 1227 Lincoln Mall. She continues to watch this person as he's running. and she observes him to run across 13th Street and go eastbound in the alley, 13th to 14th, south of Lincoln Mall. From here, we really don't know exactly where he goes, whether or not he actually drops down to 8th Street, or whether or not he runs in between the buildings of 605 and 625 South 14th Street. Our next report of him is from Deputy U.S. Marshal who is going north on 14th Street from G Street. They had been listening to radio transmissions about him running eastbound toward the Capitol. As they're going north on 14th, just north or about the time that they're at H Street, they observe a party matching that description running in the grass or the lawn of the Capitol on the west side, headed kind of in a north westerly direction. The deputy U.S. Marshal stops his vehicle somewhere right in here and allows his passenger, who is a member of the Fugitive Task Force, to get out to pursue this particular person. They do see a black object in his hand. The Deputy U.S. Marshal continues to drive north, trying to get in front of him as his partner is chasing him on the lawn. Mr. Artis sees law enforcement officers up here. I should mention that the Deputy Lancaster County Sheriff's individual is right behind the Deputy U.S. Marshal, so there becomes two law enforcement vehicles here. Mr. Artis sees law enforcement personnel here and that he's running actually toward them, so he changes his direction and starts running in a southwesterly direction across H Street. And I'm trying to get between Andrew and myself here. You're fine, Andrew. There are two individuals down at 14th and H Street. They see officers chasing an individual. They hear some commands from the officers, drop or stop. Also hear 3 shots. Another individual hears officers identifying themselves and saying stop, and hears several shots being fired by the officer. North of Lincoln Mall on 14th Street, we have 2 individuals kind of at the intersection of Lincoln Mall and 14th Street, and one just north. They overhear voices saying stop. One hears what they believe 4 shots. Another individual saw a person running and saw 2 officers yell stop, get down. Another one saw officers chasing an individual and heard the officers say get down on the ground. The actual shooting of Mr. Artis is just off of the sidewalk toward the south side of 605 South 14th Street. There are numerous people inside of 605 South 14th Street that either hear things or observe things. 3 individuals seem to actually see more things than others. One of those particular individuals hears a tire screeching, which draws their attention to it. They observed a person pointing a gun at a deputy. Another person saw a male with a gun in his right hand facing the deputy with the gun raised. And another person saw a white male in a white shirt with a dark handgun in his right hand face the deputy. Subsequently, when the law enforcement personnel felt that there was a threat to them, they then discharged their firearms at Mr. Artis. The investigation showed that the handgun that Mr. Artis was carrying was recently purchased. It was purchased on August 10th, 2015 from Nebraska Gun at 302 South Antelope Valley Parkway here in Lincoln, and it was purchased by a Christian Biggerstaff. Mr. Biggerstaff was interviewed as a result of this particular investigation, and he was not aware that his gun had in fact been stolen. He had given the gun to his mother sometime around September 6th of this year. He currently lives in Omaha, and he had given this particular gun along with a .380 caliber semi-automatic handgun to his mother to have her take them home to her residence in Ceresco until he could obtain a concealed carry permit. At this particular point in time, the .380 semi-automatic handgun is also missing, and we do not know any information in regards to the whereabouts of that particular firearm. This is a photo of the .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun that Mr. Artis was carrying at the time. Questions?
You'll send us a picture of the
Of the handgun?
On the charges, you didn't mention drugs.
We had issued, or the Lancaster County Attorney's Office had issued arrest warrants on 3 counts of narcotics and possession of a weapon with those narcotics while Mr. Artis was in the hospital.
While he was in the hospital.
Yes.
These are the new ones, and
Yes, these are new ones as we're wrapping up our investigation, and he was taken to the jail.
And how did he get this gun? This gun?
Can you put the light on?
I don't know. All we know is that sometime between September 6th of this year and the date of the shooting was September 22nd. This .45 caliber handgun and a .380 semi-automatic handgun were stolen from Mr. Biggerstaff's mother's car. He had placed them in the trunk of her car. She acknowledges that she had been in Lincoln in several different places. Her mother lives in Lincoln, and she does not lock her car, and that sometime while she was in Lincoln, we believe that someone had actually gotten into the vehicle and stole these 2 people.
From your investigation, was the use of this type of force appropriate, proper?
Officers can use deadly force to protect themselves or someone else from serious bodily injury, and the officers indicated that they felt that their lives were in jeopardy, as well as we have independent citizens who indicated that they observed a handgun being pointed in the direction of the officers as well. So it appears as though there was a very good possibility that their lives were in jeopardy.
Can you review how many people total saw, that he had a gun that he was carrying? How many actually saw him pointed at the officers?
I believe that there were three 3 citizens that actually saw the gun being pointed in the general direction of the officers. And as far as the number of citizens who actually saw him with a gun, I'm going to take a rough guess here. I mean, I could probably count those up, but I don't have that information at hand. But I would say there's probably a dozen that may have witnessed him with a gun at some point during the path that he had taken.
Can you list his charges again?
Sure. The arrest, what he was arrested for yesterday was an attempted assault on an officer, possession of a stolen firearm, and the use of a firearm to commit a felony. The charges that, or the arrest warrants that were issued early in the investigation when he was actually in the hospital was possession with intent to deliver. There were 3 counts of that because we had different types of narcotics, and then as well as a possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, basically tied with a firearm with the distribution of narcotics.
What would you say to people who are still skeptical about what had happened?
I would tend to say that, I would think that this investigation is a little bit unique. Happened almost high noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there were just under 50 citizens that had actually observed different aspects of this pursuit by the law enforcement officers trying to take Mr. Artis into custody. As for the overheard commands that were being given by the officers telling Mr. Artis to drop it, to get down, and things of that nature. Personally, I feel that that's very unusual. We generally don't have that many people that witness these events. A lot of times these events happen at nighttime, and there's very few other citizens or independent witnesses that are out and about that may wind up seeing these. So when something like this happens at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have all of these citizens who have observed various aspects of this, it's not just law enforcement saying this is what the officers said. We have a lot of citizens that were independent to this, that made their statements and came forward to the Lakeland Police Department.
Can you say how many shots that we were pointing the other way? How many shots were fired by the deputies, and where they struck Mr. Artis?
Sure. We believe that there were 4 shots that were fired, 2 by the Lancaster County Sheriff's deputy and 2 by the deputy U.S. Marshal. 3 shots actually struck Mr. Artis, once in the right thigh, and that bullet actually went right through his thigh, and then 2 other bullets that struck him in the right buttocks. Those rounds lodged in his upper body. It appears as though when those rounds actually hit his hip bone, they deflected and went up into his upper body.